that, hey guys, this is the first time I'm going live, so you're gonna have to excuse the noise of the treadmill and the gym stuff around me. Um, like nobody's joined, but that's okay because this is gonna be a recurring thing for me while I'm on the treadmill because I got some thoughts and I want to share them with you guys. So it has come to my attention that I have been inadvertently not really landing the plane on a term, and that people feel like I am victim blaming when I call for radical responsibility for conscious creators, for manifestors. And I want to talk about it. So let's talk about the term victim blaming first and foremost. Because to be a victim, you have to have something done to you that wasn't called for. And my contention is that when you are a manifester, a conscious manifester, that you cannot be imposed something on you that you did not call in. Now, when you're unconscious and you're manifesting, yes, you can be a victim because you're not conscious of what you're calling in. And now let's take the second part of that word, blaming. Blaming implies fault. Blaming implies a degree of saying that you did this thing, you called it in, you're bad for that. And that is not the truth at all. Even if you're unconscious. If you're conscious or unconscious, it does not matter. So, victim blaming and radical responsibility for conscious creators is not victim blaming. On the contrary. So, what happens when you victim blame? What happens is that you're saying, "Oh, you called this in and you're bad," but that also leaves the person to feel like, "Man, I really am a piece of crap. Like, how could I do this? How could I be so dumb? How could that happen? Why would I let that happen? How could I let that happen?" And it opens the floodgates to a lot of existential questions that really shouldn't happen when you're going through something traumatic, really shouldn't happen when you're doing something in life that causes pain to yourself. So I think one of the pieces that's missing here is understanding what a conscious creator is. So let's talk about what a conscious creator is. Someone who is conscious is hyper aware that their surroundings are a reflection of who they are. Now, that piece of it is really crucial because most people are not conscious. They believe that they're conscious, but they're only partially conscious because they're conscious for small periods of time. You know, they become conscious, then they go back to sleep. They're conscious, then they go back to sleep. So consciousness isn't something that, it's like a muscle, right? So because you have to grow this consciousness muscle, it's like, how can you call yourself conscious and like still be asleep part of the time? So there's like this intermediate portion where you're still creating, where you're still manifesting from a place of unconsciousness. So that's the first piece. Then to be a creator is to actually drive energy into the things that you want, into the things that you feel like I should be calling into my life. But your consciousness driving it to that thing to call it in. Okay? So if you've been in a toxic relationship, you have bad health, you have a zero bank account, all those things you may be inadvertently calling into your life because you're not conscious and you're not driving energy into the things that you truly want, which are healthy relationships, love, money, great career, wonderful relationship with your family, tip-top health. So those are the pieces to be a conscious creator. So you can see the difference between somebody who has been unconsciously manifesting negative things into their life versus somebody who's consciously creating. Now, here's the thing about the negative side that you need to know. Now, I lovingly call it the devil because that's what it is, but it's the negative side. It's negativity. It's the power that is keeping you locked into your comfort zone. There's two sides to it. There's the masculine side, and the masculine side says, hey, let's not go to the gym today. Eat that piece of cake that you know you should eat. Talk to that guy you know you have no business talking to. Let's just bed rot all day because that's self-care. It's the litigator in your head. It's the one that has all the logical reasons to do the things that you know you shouldn't do. It's all the logical reasons for, saying those things that you know you don't need to say. And the purpose of it is to get you to do those things that keep you locked in where you are. Now, the flip side of that is the feminine side. And the feminine side is like when it is all said and done, when you did the thing that you weren't supposed to do, when you talked to the person you weren't supposed to talk to, when you didn't do the thing that you knew you were supposed to do, because it's both, right? It's not doing the thing that you're supposed to do and doing the thing that you're not supposed to do. Then the feminine side comes in and says, hey, you really are a piece of crap. Like, you are not worthy of your goals or your dreams because you did those things. Like, who do you think you are? Sit back down. And so the feminine side comes in and tells you that you're not worthy. It berates you for having done the thing that you knew you weren't supposed to do. So the negative side always gets you from the front end and from the back end. There's no escaping that. And a lot of people, when they get out of toxic relationships, a lot of people, when they gain weight, a lot of people, when they go broke, that feminine side really reaches in there and says, yeah, you see, I told you couldn't do it. And more to the point, when you become a conscious creator, the feminine side comes in and says, well, look at all that stuff that you manifested. You did that. You called in that toxic relationship. You called in that weight gain. You called in that bad health. You called in that zero bank account because you're a terrible manifester. So the negative side comes in and like really leans in on you because it wants you to stay where you are. It wants to keep you oppressed and suppressed. It wants to keep you locked into a life that you have outgrown. It wants you to stay in your comfort zone. And when I bring to the attention of people that you are a conscious creator, that you can create a life, to me, that's an empowering statement because it comes down to the fact that, wait a minute, I created all of this, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful. Wait, that means that I can create more beautiful. I can create more good. I can create more of what I want versus staying in a place that I don't really like, versus staying in a body that doesn't suit me anymore, versus staying at a bank account that I'm not happy with. So to me, telling people they are conscious creators is not victim blaming. It is actually empowering them to step into their power and recognize, hey, this is great. I mean, I love the analogy of, with a baby, when they're learning to walk, they're 1 year old, and they're learning to walk for the first time, and they fall flat on their face. You don't just say, hey, you're a stupid baby. Like, that's not what happens. You pick the baby back up, put them on their feet, try again. And think about this. Just a month prior, they didn't even know that they could walk. Just a month prior, they didn't have the musculature to even take a step. So when you become a conscious creator, first you got to build a muscle. And second, you are going to be misdirected. You are going to manifest things that you don't want. And that's okay. You're learning. You are stepping into a new role. You're stepping into a new power. And because you're stepping into this new power, you're going to make mistakes. Perfection from the outset is a lie. So you have to pay attention to that negative side, the masculine that's telling you, hey, do the things that you're not supposed to do. And you have to listen to the feminine side that says, hey, you're a terrible human being. Like, all of those things that happen when you're learning something new are absolutely the mirror that you hold up to yourself in order to unlock manifestations. So that's my little rant for today. I'm hoping to do more lives because I'm on this treadmill so much these days. And, all of these thoughts about manifestation, about what it takes to actually do self-development, personal development, doing that self-work. There's like a million and one facets to it. And I promise you, the manifesting is easy. Becoming a conscious manifester is absolutely hard. But if you do it, if you work a program to be a conscious manifester, if you're willing to look into the mirror of your life, everything that you have said, you're done, your relationships, if you're willing to do a deep dive into everything that is and creates your life, you can have whatever you want. When you start to excise all dissect and look at what the hell was I thinking, what was I doing, and really piece apart what are the patterns and beliefs that stem from that, you can create a life that you want. I am a perfect example of this. I went from alcoholic teen mom on WIC to happily married, happily healthy, living my dream life right now. Except this stupid treadmill is like killing me. But just take a look. Don't be afraid to take a look. That's my message for today. Okay, guys. Love you guys.